Welcome to PACTV Community News. I'm Walter Cicchetti.
And I'm Julie Thompson.
This week on PCN, we get to meet a local Kingston resident who will be competing on American Ninja Warrior.
We talk business with a 1620 winery, and we get the latest from the field on this year's tick season.
The Plymouth Area Chamber holds another inspiring, empowering women's luncheon, and we stop into the opening of the Plymouth Farmers Market to bring you the latest.
We also have Sue Giovanetti from the Plymouth Area Coalition for the Homeless on to talk about their latest initiatives. But we start tonight's show at Pembroke High School. Pembroke has been honored with the Best Communities for Music Education designation from the NAMM Foundation for its outstanding commitment to music education. The designation from the National Association of Music Merchants is awarded to districts that demonstrate outstanding achievement in efforts to provide music access to all students. We spoke with Gwen Chapman, the Director of Fine and Performing Arts for the Pembroke Public Schools, about this prestigious honor.
There's a foundation, the NAMM Foundation, that you can apply to have your school district recognized for creating access to music education for all public school students. We were recognized in 2016, so it's an application process that you go through. It's pretty extensive, they're asking about 30 pages of information of demographics and the type of courses that you offer, the qualifications of your music faculty. And so we are recognized for having one of them, a program that has a lot of breadth to it and allowing students to really access a wonderful and comprehensive music education program. So in the state of Massachusetts, there are 401 school districts and 15 were selected in our state, 500 and something nationwide out of the thousands and thousands of school districts. It is a big deal. I'm immensely proud of the program that we have built here. Obviously, I've had the vision as being the director for 13 years, but I certainly do it with a wonderful group of colleagues and support from the community and the building administration here, all the way up to the superintendent. So when we started, we were so small, having, deregionalized from the Silver Lake system, and we had 17 students in the high school band. And now we look, jump forward 13 years, and we have 120 students in the high school band. And that happens from the roots up, from the elementary program and the general music program, and those teachers really infusing a love of music. And again, it's about access. It's about having students have a chance to be able to take it. And we've just seen the tremendous growth. The music department in the afternoon is as busy here as it is during the day. So we have 6 co-curricular ensembles, and so students can elect. Only a couple are audition, but students really, decide, hey, I'm going to be a part of that. And so they're usually working together only for an hour, once a week after school. And it's amazing to be able to extend the curriculum that way, because we don't have jazz during the day. So those jazz band students are really learning how to improvise, and they're working on that jazz-specific literature. We have a men's choir that just does men's choir literature, and a women's choir, and we have 2 outstanding student-run led a cappella groups, one that's all women and then one that's SATB, include soprano, alto, tenor, bass. So it's, like I said, it's as busy as during the day. In my experience, I've worked in 5 different school districts here on the South Shore, and Pembroke is a really special place where the community has recognized the importance of the arts and supports the arts in the lives of their students. And that's not just all the taxpayers, but not just parents that have students in the school system, but in the community at large. We're singing at Veterans Day. We're going over to New England Village to share our music there. We're marching in the Memorial Day Parade. You're seeing the band at the football games. We really embrace trying to give back all that support that we receive to our Pembroke community. Nice work on that. Have a seat. Very, very good.
Kingston native Lucas Reale is getting his chance to find out if he has what it takes to be an American Ninja Warrior. For those unfamiliar with the television show, contestants are tasked with racing through obstacle courses, which require strength, endurance, balance, and a keen ability to climb and swing. This 19-year-old athlete submitted his video and made it onto the program and competed in mid-May, but we won't know how he did until the episode airs on NBC in June. We did, however, get to speak with him before he competed and get a look at his training regimen to find out what it takes to compete on American Ninja Warrior.
It all started when I was just a kid. I would watch the Japanese version of the show. Then it turned into American Ninja Warrior, and one day I was just with one of my friends and I thought it'd be cool to search up American Ninja Warrior gym, and we found this gym. It's TA Fitness. It's about 20 minutes from where I lived, so we figured we'd give it a try. And as soon as I got here, I was hooked. It's a lot different from conventional sports, and I was always climbing as a kid, so it came naturally to me, and I like body movement. So once I got here, it was just supernatural. Before, the age that you could compete with was 21, and they kept that until December of this year. And one random day while I was coaching, one of my friends called me and basically told me, hey, they lowered the age to 19. You have 3 weeks to submit your video. So meanwhile, all the other competitors have like 4 months. All of the 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds only had like 3 weeks to pull something together and audition for the show. So I didn't know I was going to be able to try out for another 3 years. And then all of a sudden, like, it just hit. I work with kids that are from anywhere from 5 years old to 17, even some adults I've been working with. And it's a really good way to honestly teach myself. Because if I can break down all these obstacles to a 5-year-old kid, I should be able to break it down to myself. And it's really cool to see how the sport is growing as well. I mean, this sport is in like its infancy. We're creating the norm for what the sport's gonna be and what the future is gonna be. So when we see, kids come in that are really good, we try and like grasp a hold of that and really try and show them, all right, you have the strength, let's work on that technique. Before competing on the show, I've been competing in the National Ninja League, which is kind of like a grassroots, it kind of started up because of the show. A few of the athletes were interested in doing competitions year-round, so they got together and created this league, and now with gyms all across the country, they host competitions. I've been competing for 3 seasons. It's only been in the works for 3 seasons. I competed in the national finals my first season, and this past year I qualified for the national finals and actually made it to stage 2 with a lot of the competitors who have actually been on the show before. So I'm kind of getting that top level competition without actually being on the show. I think this career is going to last it's hard to say right now how long it's going to last because of obviously a lot of the hype is around the show. So we're trying as gyms and as athletes who love this sport to make it an actual sport and to, jumpstart it like all the other sports started. Injury-free, I think I can be doing this probably into my 40s. Obviously, barring injuries, because that's the worst.
The 1620 Winery in Cordage Park in Plymouth is finally completely open to the public. It took a few years to finish the renovations on the 13,000 square foot former warehouse, but to see the changes inside, it was well worth the wait. We dropped in for the ribbon cutting.
Most grand openings arrive with the same pomp and circumstance. Well-dressed people, flowery speeches, and usually an oversized pair of scissors. The 1620 Winery opening was a little different though. For one thing, it was in Cordage Park, where from the outside, some of the buildings look as though they may have been built in 1620. Secondly, the winery portion of the operation had already been here since August of 2015.
Even though the winery right behind me opened up around the same time as the Waterfront Wine Bar did a couple of years ago, getting the function hall up and running took a little bit longer, but now it's open and they're having their official ribbon cutting ceremony tonight.
The winery itself was born out of necessity due to the amount of space that it offers. It houses the barrel room and everything else that goes into the production of the 1620 wine, and for the most part, it took a lot less time to get up and running. All of the space on the other side of the doors, well, that's a different story.
I wish it was ready to go. Not a plug, not an outlet, not a pipe, nothing was ready to go because this was just factory warehouse. It was not habitable to bring human beings into this space. So there was a tremendous amount of heating, plumbing, HVAC, a lot of code for exits and lighting for people to be able to come into this part of the building.
While visitors in the ballroom admire the vaulted ceilings and the chandelier made from the Napa Valley wine vines, it's nearly impossible not to notice the immaculate brick walls that they rest on.
The bricks were a hot mess. When the old unfinished furniture store was here, they painted the bricks bright red, and we wanted to go back to the original 1800s brick and expose the beauty of them. So we had to sandblast all of the walls in this winery, and that took weeks and weeks to do, and boy, was that a mess.
Despite the rustic feel to the space, nearly everything is either new or renovated. That includes the fireplace, doors, and a wine bar that pays homage to the rope factory from the days of Cordage Park. The hall itself will play host to weddings and functions for years to come, but on this night, the 1620 Winery was hosting the good people of Plymouth and the Chamber of Commerce.
Bob and I have been business owners in this community my entire adult life, and I am so proud to be a member of the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce. They have always supported us 100%, and we want to be able to give back to the community and hope that we can complement and host a lot of events for them.
From Cordage Park in Plymouth, I'm Brian Sullivan, reporting for PCN.
Plymouth County's entomologist is not only fascinated by bugs, he truly loves teaching people how to best protect themselves against the most dangerous bugs out there. We met up with entomologist and educator Blake Dinius out in the field for a little tick talk.
So the ticks you really want to be looking out for, especially this time of year, are what we call the nymph stage ticks. And they're really small. They're about the size of a poppy seed. We still have some of the adults left over from last year. Those are about the size of the sesame seed. But as we go into June, those are going to start phasing out and we'll be primarily left with the most dangerous stage of ticks, the nymphs. Unlike other stages of tick, what we see is that the nymphs are about 25% infected, whereas the adults are about 50%. And so you might stop me here and say, wait a second, they're less infected, there's less of a chance. But the problem with the nymphs is that they're so tiny that many times they go unnoticed for a very long period of time. With the adults, a quick tick check and you'll find it. But with the nymphs, that's not really the case. The best thing to do against the nymphs is to treat your shoes and socks with something called permethrin. And it comes in a bunch of different brands, but you really want to look for the active ingredient permethrin, and it's usually about 0.5%. Now this stuff's great because it lasts for 30 days, and that's not hard and fast. If you want to spray it every 28, 32, 35, it's just a ballpark estimate. And the good news is that these nymphs, they're only active from about May, June, July, and the early part of August. So you don't need to spray your shoes all year. It's just really hitting that part where the nymphs are active. You're going to want to spray them again in the fall when the adults come out, but these months are critical for the shoe treatment. As summer comes to a close and you want to start thinking about the adults to protect yourself against those, it's really important to cover up further up. Now your average adult isn't going to be found more than a foot off the ground, about a foot, 12 inches. But some adults occasionally will be up about 2 feet off the ground, so protecting from your waist down is really, really important. And if you take a look around here, you can find them along the edge, but also anywhere that you see tall grass. They're really susceptible to drying out, so any area that you see that can harbor moisture or be relatively damp, you're going to find them. So there's two things. So wearing the permethrin on your shoes and socks is really important, and also doing tick checks. You can't ignore checking yourself for ticks.
I run a lot, and I sort of forget sometimes that I should probably be checking myself for ticks, especially after I've gone through the woods and stuff like that.
Because when you're running, you don't think a tick's going to jump on you. I know my husband and I went out in our backyard 2 weeks ago, and just walking through the grass, he got 3 ticks. Wow. It was just for the grass, so it's really important to heed that advice to check for ticks. And that was very good tick talk. Thank you. Eastern Bank hosted the 5th annual Empowering Women Business Panel at the Waverly Oaks Country Club in Plymouth. Women of varied professions came from all over the South Shore. They were in attendance for the event that featured 5 prominent women in the business world. Each woman on stage had a story of their own success to tell, which would hopefully inspire audience members. We spoke with one of the event's organizers who was inspiring in her own right.
Eastern Bank is sponsoring the 5th annual Empowering Women event because this year we're very focused on advancing women, and we want to bring all these women together from the South Shore, from the Cape, from Plymouth, to talk about and to share their stories. At these events, you hear these stories and they inspire you to contribute more, to do better in the workplace, maybe a promotional opportunity, maybe you meet somebody that you haven't met before and they ignite something in you that will provide better access to others in our community. So we're very excited to be here today. Advancing women is our mission for 2018, and hopefully it will continue to be our mission as we move forward. I don't know if you've ever been to an event where you see a lot of women together. The energy, the passion, the focus that comes out of them is unbelievable. And I think this is our time. And we're just as talented as everybody else out there, and we want to make a difference. I immigrated here about 25 years ago because of a war in Lebanon, and kind of worked my way up in the banking world. Started as a teller, a summer teller while I was going to college, and then moved up, and now I'm the senior vice president. I love what I do, and my passion is making a difference every day, helping people in the financial world, and also seeing my team being really developed so they get the opportunities that they so well deserve. I want people leaving this event today getting one aha moment, one thing that they can do differently, or one thing that they contribute differently to their work environment, to their home environment, and into their communities that's going to make a difference. And I think today's event will do that for a lot of people. People come year after year to this event because they tell you when they leave here, they make a difference, they want to make a change. They leave here inspired, full of passion to kind of get out there and do something. So I'm hoping that's what they get out of it.
It must be getting closer to summer because the Plymouth Farmers Market has moved to the outdoors at Plymouth Plantation. Thursday, May 24th marked the opening day for the open-air marketplace. PCN stopped by to take in the sights and sounds.
On the front lawn at Plymouth Plantation, the sound of live music fills the air as the little ones play beanbag toss. Tents, booths, and food trucks line the perimeter of the field as the visitors enjoy what feels like the first truly nice day of the year. Luckily for the vendors, this wonderful weather just happens to coincide with the opening day of the summer season outdoor farmers market between the hours of 2:30 and 6:30 every Thursday starting on May 24th right to November 1st. People who want to shop fresh and local can do it here.
The Plymouth Farmers Market, all our vendors are really mom and pop, very small operations, and it's a great opportunity for them to be able to connect directly with the consumer.
For newcomers to the farmers market experience who may think it's just 20 different booths selling 20 different kinds of kale, they can throw those outmoded ideas out the window. Of course, there is kale, but one needn't wander too far to find dozens of other items. And this market is producer only.
Everyone here that's selling stuff, it's stuff that they've produced, either grown or prepared or baked or whatever.
Baked items like cookies, prepared items from food trucks and local restaurateurs, fish, plants, homemade chocolate, kombucha, and somewhere in the mix, they found a way to squeeze in massage therapy. The main focus of the farmers market is to raise awareness for people that they can buy local, eat healthy, and help the local economy. The music and games entice the kids then tell their parents they want to go back. The parents get to have an open-air market experience while being introduced to items they may never have encountered in any other setting. And while the parking lot may look full on opening day in the month of May, this crowd will only grow exponentially once school gets out.
This field will literally just be littered with bodies all summer long, and it's just amazing to see the same faces week after week, and to know people by name, and to see their kids grow up, and to see them come out with their dogs, and really I think the whole community aspect of it really kind of blows me away, but it's also really what I'm really interested in sort of fostering for the market.
At the Plymouth Farmers Market, I'm Brian Sullivan, reporting for PCN.
We are so pleased to have on set today Sue Giovanetti, who is the CEO of the Plymouth Area Coalition for the Homeless. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I checked your website and I was amazed at the amount of services that you offer through the coalition. Let's talk a little bit about how you got to be, what the little background is, and then what you're doing now.
Sure. The Plymouth Area Coalition actually came into being in 1985 when a group of concerned citizens in Plymouth actually became very much aware of homeless individuals living in their cars in the state forest. That started a real think tank and a movement of action to solve those problems and to make an effort to provide housing and resources for those experiencing extreme poverty in our community.
And it's just grown from
and
there.
And it's grown since
okay.
that time. The founders were really, really instrumental in starting a very strong program for the greater Plymouth area.
And where are you located?
We are located at 149 Bishops Highway, which is Route 80.
Yep.
We're on about 2.2 acres, and on our campus is the Plymouth Coalition Food Pantry and the Pilgrim's Hope Family Shelter. The shelter is a family shelter. We have housing for 13 homeless families.
At a time?
At a time.
Okay.
That number, we're always at 13, but
people transition in
and
out.
They transition in and out
Yeah.
with the help of our case managers
yeah.
and the programs that we offer to help strengthen families. So, unfortunately, there's a consistent need for the housing.
Of course there is.
I suspect if we had 20 units, we would be able to keep them filled.
I'm sure. So you don't actually place people yourself. You don't place these families in the shelter. It's done through the DHCD. Okay.
So the state.
That's through the state.
Yes. So the state will assign families that are homeless to our shelter, and from the minute they arrive at Pilgrim's Hope, we start working with them. We have a great case management program. They're very successful in working with the families and helping to strengthen them. We have an education program. 3 days a week we offer education classes in parenting, nutrition, personal health, and then around that we also offer quarterly, more or less, courses that might be in resume writing,
to help them
personal finance.
For when they leave.
The goal is to help build families to self-sufficiency and permanent housing.
So when they leave, they're in a much better place than when they came.
Absolutely.
Do the children get education? I mean, the children are all different ages?
So, yeah, we have newborns and we have 18-year-olds.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
Children
should be
of
in
all
school
ages,
somewhere.
and they're enrolled in schools. They're either enrolled in the local school system, or they're also the McKinney-Vento Act allows them to stay in the community from where they were originally residing.
Okay.
So they do attend
so they can go
various
back to school to where they have been before.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. You also have a food pantry, and
Right.
you have a really cool thing coming up starting this weekend. Is your pop-up food pantry? So talk about that.
Right. So we became very much aware that through a report that was generated by the Boston Foundation on for the Greater Boston Food Bank, that there were a great number of underserviced areas, and in particular in the South Shore.
Right.
So we know that the demand for our services at the Coalition Food Pantry is always very strong.
Sure.
We wanted to be sure that we were doing a maximum amount of outreach to the larger community so that we could bring in as many clients as needed our assistance.
So this is going to be at the Kingston Collection.
So what it is we're a member of the new Kingston Farmers Market.
Okay.
And whose location will take place at the Kingston Collection.
In the parking lot.
In the parking lot. So we're very excited. We have a new van that we were able to purchase with the help of Tracy Chevrolet.
Great.
And Greg Brenner of Brenner Signs did a wonderful wrapping type graphics.
So that shows who you are and what you're doing.
Right.
And you have pre-made meals?
So there'll be bags filled with non-perishable foods. We'll also have different personal, I'll say personal hygiene type
Shampoo,
articles
toothpaste,
and
all
things.
that. Yep.
So
yep.
those will be available for people that need them. But most importantly, we'll have the resource information for those individuals who may not be on SNAP benefits or
Yep.
may require further assistance. And
So this might be their first foray into it, to understand what's available to them.
Our initiative is really about making those people in need of services available about what's out there for them.
And it's anyone from the South Shore can go
Yes,
there. It's not limited to
absolutely.
Plymouth.
Absolutely.
Now, talk to me about the Children's Holiday Fund and the Voice in the Night.
Right. So first, the Voice in the Night. The Voice in the Night is a 24-hour hotline.
Yeah.
Basically, we have 24-hour residential staff, and what we do is we provide a resource line for individuals who may find themselves at any particular hour in the day
Yep.
in need of services. So it could be food, it could be housing, it could be some form of abuse.
Yep.
We have all of that information available, and our staff will guide them to the resources that
they
can
need.
best suit them.
Perfect.
Yes,
And that's 24/7.
absolutely.
The
Yeah.
Children's Holiday Fund, and it kind of
Yes.
piggybacks, I think, with Lila and Henrik's Teddy Bear program.
Yeah. So Children's Holiday Fund, we're already starting to think about it
Yeah.
and prepare for the upcoming holiday season. We work with the Old Colony Memorial and Community News.
Yep.
As folks that have been in the area for a long time know, Phyllis Hughes many, many years ago started the Children's Holiday Fund. We had the opportunity to take over the coordination of that fund
So it's like a toy
quite some
drive?
time ago. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in addition to toys and gifts, we provide family holiday meals.
Oh, great.
We provide the
Just give a little special touch to the holiday.
coats,
Yep.
pajamas,
Yep.
and
Yep.
but the children families put in a wish list,
Right.
and we match the wish list, and then we also match when families or companies offer to sponsor a child or a family, you get the wish list.
That's great.
So, yeah.
And also you have a Lila and Henrik's Teddy Bear
Yes.
program. So every child that comes in there, whether they're an
Yes.
infant up to 18, we feel need a teddy bear.
So at that moment when you enter shelter, there's probably nothing that could compare to that. And for a child, it may be their first time in shelter, it may not be.
Right.
But they need that reassurance, that feeling of love.
Yeah.
Their parents or family members are feeling the stress
Sure.
and all the emotions that come with that. So one of our board members, Christy Nelson, and her family really spearheaded this movement, and it has taken off tremendously.
That's
We
great.
couldn't be any more pleased. So much to the point that we're expanding it now, and we haven't come up with all the funding yet, but we're expanding it to include counseling for the children.
Great.
So
Okay.
just to take it the next step.
Wonderful. I wish
Yeah.
we had more time. We are actually way over budget on our time here. So it's the Plymouth Area Coalition for the Homeless.
Correct.
And your website, if you go to Plymouth Area Coalition for the Homeless, you will get right there. And it's a great effort you're doing. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for all the people that you're serving. And I'm sure we'll hear
Thank you.
future updates from you.
You will, for
Okay.
sure. Thank you so
Sue.
much.
And thank you for watching. If you want to see the show again, you can check out our website, and PCN is also on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook to get up-to-date info. We'll see you next week with a brand new PCN and PCN Life. From all of us at PACTV, have a great week.